Alright everybody, welcome to a new how-to video. It's going to be a little different than what I normally do, not showing you how to make anything. I know in a previous video I introduced everyone to this new Kapstan Elite Reel. The, again, KastKing Kapstan Elite. But what I'm actually going to do this time is, instead of just taking off the spool and showing you what it looks like, I'm going to show you why and what makes this reel IPX6 waterproof. I've never actually had a reel claim to be an IPX6 waterproof reel, so I'm going to show you what makes this thing completely waterproof. Now, full disclosure, I've already taken this apart once, as I do with all my reels, just to see how they work. And if you do plan on taking any reels apart, I do strongly recommend that you do what I'm doing right now and record it. That way you know where every piece goes, every screw, everything, so you can look back at it and know exactly where it is. Because at some point when you're doing these little projects, you are going to come across a time when there's an extra washer or a bushing or a shim or a screw that you do not remember where it came from. So it's always a good idea to record, even if you're not going to post it anywhere for any other reason. Just record it for yourself. But again, this is the new Kapstan Elite by KastKing, and I'm going to go ahead and show you right now why this is, again, IPX6 waterproof. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and take the spool off. So I undo this this drag top, or the drag knob here. And this is also good at, if something breaks on the reel, which I haven't had happen yet, of course. But if you need a replacement bushing, a gear, what am I trying to think? A ball bearing, whatever. It comes with the parts list, so make sure you keep that handy. So again, this is the spool, greased up really well. Here's the, I gotta keep remembering, I'm actually recording this on my phone, not on a GoPro, so I have to keep changing it to get it into view. But alright, so there's that part. I'm not going to take apart this spool, but I'm going to take apart the reel itself. So that's all greased up. That's nice and greased. You got some screws there holding this all together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to notice with a lot of other reels is you can immediately take this off and just slide it off. This is all, it's not one piece. So you see this little, there's a bushing or a little washer there, and then there's a metal washer below that. There's actually a groove inside this brass piece that this washer, this little, it's like a plastic washer and this metal washer sit in. And the more you take these off, the less durable it becomes. So I'm not going to actually take this apart right now. We'll leave this all as one piece. But you can see it doesn't come out. Okay, so you have to take this part out. So in order to do this, take this whole piece out, you have to take this part off. So you can see right now, before I even do that, you see this piece right here. This is kind of like a rubber or hard plastic with two screws on it. That's the first level of the IPX6 waterproof aspect. Is this, again, this is a like hard rubber piece that sits on top of the spool nut with two screws that secure it down to this this framework. That's, again, the first part of the waterproofness. It doesn't let any water seep through. But in order to, again, get this out, we're going to need to take apart this whole side panel. So first what we're going to do is I'm going to hold the housing, and I'm going to take the handle and go backwards with it to unscrew it. Okay, unscrew that off. Set that aside. You can see, again, that's nice and greased. Okay, that's going to go over there. I'm going to go ahead, and for these aren't regular Phillips screws. These, and each reel comes with the little piece, the little silver screws, kind of like Allen keys, but I just use a screwdriver with that bit. So you're just going to go ahead and take pull all 4 of these screws out. Now again, this is why you want to video it, so you know where every screw goes, because you got a long one. See the length of this one? Okay. Now let's go ahead and take this one out. Okay, it's the same size. Okay. So far we're looking good. All those screws are the same size. Get back in the screen. Give me 1 second. I'm actually, after I take the screw out, I'm going to adjust this camera angle. Hold on just a moment. Just this camera angle up a little bit. Oops, no, I want down. There, no, that's it, right there. Okay, so now that those screws are out, we can now take this panel off, the waterproofness of this reel. So you have this, the body, and this crack that's in here. You got to kind of get that up. Okay. Yes, I'm using a razor blade. Be very careful. Okay. And you can see it starting to come up and separate, which is good. Now there's a bearing in here that I pushed down just to keep it in there. I don't really want it coming out. There. All right. So there's that. It's open. Now you got a bearing here. Okay, that does come out. There's no reason for me to take it out, but you can push it out from this side. Okay, and then you get 2 screws holding this little piece in. 1, 2. But yeah, you got your bushing in there, or yeah, I'm sorry, bearing in there. I'm gonna go ahead and set that up there. Okay. Within this, you have 2 washers here. So you got one there. See, one there, one there. All right, so you got your one little washer. So go ahead and take this out. Okay, so I'm just going to set that on there. Okay, that's a main gear. So again, the goal was to get this piece out so we can see what that looks like. So I'm going to rotate this until this piece down here comes. You see how this is coming down? We need that to come down first. See that little screw? Okay. Oh, too far. All right. There. Okay, now before I go any further, again, part of the main goal of this was to show why this is IPX6 waterproof rated. So this is the only reel that I have so far that I have opened up that I've seen this. There is a gasket right here. Rubber gasket that lines this whole piece. Goes up over here, comes down around the pinion gear, comes around this brass gear on this whole main body. Okay, see that? So when this piece is screwed down, the side panel screwed down, that also doesn't let any water into the main body and the main gear housing. So with this up here, this rubber piece, as well as this gasket right here, that's what makes it waterproof and completely sealed. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do, in order to get this out, you have to take this screw out first. I'm going to take this out. Now this is a short one. Okay, be very careful with it. So we'll put that right there. Now we can go ahead and slide this whole piece out. Okay, so you got a solid bearing or a little washer here. You got kind of a rubber one right here. Let me get back to center screen. Rubber one there. You have this bearing, and again you have the metal washer and kind of like a plastic washer there. So I'll go ahead and set that down. Okay. Now you see, now we can go ahead and take this apart. to get the looking at this part. Let's take those 2 screws out. Okay, set that over there. Make sure, that's another part of it, word of advice, group everything with the screws that it goes into. So each section, so we're going to put these screws, I'm putting these screws up top here. Alright, now go ahead and take this hard plastic rubber piece off. Oops. Use this screwdriver. Okay. So much grease on here, sometimes it's hard. Now you can see that it has grooves in it, so there's a washer in here. You can see it kind of moving around in there, yeah. And then there's indentations. I don't know if you could see it there. You might be able to see it better now. Indentations for this nut to go into, and those screw holes right here match that to go on top. Okay, so we'll put that over there. Now we can go ahead and either take a socket, whatever. I just have these just little pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this nut and go left just enough to untighten it. Then I'll undo the rest of it by hand. So again, group everything together. Okay, now we can go ahead and take this off, the bail housing off. That's all done. Okay. All right. Okay, now before I take this metal piece off, I'm going to go ahead and undo these 3 screws right here. Now I'm using a Phillips on these, but it might be easier, just as an FYI, to use a flathead, because I'm having to push quite a bit harder into these grooves to get that to unscrew, but it works out. Put this screw back over there. Okay, one more. Okay, take this off. You can see there's a bearing right in here. There's the other aspect of it that makes this, the third aspect that makes this IPX6 is there is a plastic bushing right here. Plastic O-ring, basically, that completely seals these ball bearings, okay? So again, we'll put that over there. And this is the inner workings. All right, so make sure, again, this is another perfect example of why you want to make sure you're videoing it. So this is your main bearing. Okay, and you have to keep an eye in the direction. So this bearing right here is extremely important. This is what allows it to the reel to spin in the proper direction. So it's faced this way right now. If I were to take this bushing, as you can see, it's white, okay? And I've done it with a couple other reels too, but if you were to take this and put it this way and put it back on, the only way you're going to be able to reel is backwards, okay? You won't be able to reel forward. This is the anti-reverse already built in. It won't go backwards, but you have to have it the proper way. So it must, again, pay attention to how you take it off, because it's got to go right back on. You see how these have little angles on them? The plastic part in there, how, like white, I don't know how to explain them, but so this is perfectly circular. This is kind of jagged edges in here on this white or a clear part. You want to make sure that that's going in. So you can see this rotates this way, doesn't rotate back. Okay? So make sure that that's always in the right direction. Again, another bearing, or I'm sorry, yeah, the bearing. But here's your pinion gear for this one. Okay, I'm just gonna be smart and put this all back together at the moment. Okay, slide that back in. It goes on there. Okay, hold that like that. Okay, and here's the main brass gear. I can pull this out right now. There you have it. So you got your secondary bearing. Here's the brass gear. But yeah, that's no reason to take these pieces out. I wouldn't touch those. This is, again, all greased up. But yeah, so you got that rubber O-ring in there. You got the gasket right here, right? And you have this solid plastic piece that sits on top of the spool that doesn't let any, or the bail housing doesn't let any water in. Okay? But yeah, that's completely taken apart the KastKing Kapstan Elite. In case you have any issues, any pieces that you need to fix, you have your parts list that come with each reel. So now we go ahead and put this thing back together, hopefully. So we'll go backwards just the way we went in. So take your pinion gear with your bearings, slide that right back in, make sure that rotates forward. Come on. Okay, that's good. You want it to go this way, not this way. That's done. Take this piece back. I know. Gotta get that washer back in there. Hold on. Time out. This goes back in there. I guess I'll just put it on after. No. Okay. So, as you can see, there's a space there. That's not right. It's not in all the way. So what I'm going to do is do it piece by piece. So that piece came out. That's fine. I'm going to do this piece by piece just to make sure it's in properly. Okay, so it's down here's the issue. Take that out. You can see the pinion wasn't in all the way. Okay, that's it. Appears to be in all the way now. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and take this, put that back on. Come on, slide in. There we go. There. Nice and snug. Go ahead and take this little washer, put this guy back on. Now you can see the angle, see how it's flat on the left and right and round on the top and bottom. Same with the pinion gear. Round on top and bottom, flat on the sides. So that fits nicely on there, snug. Now I'll go ahead and take my screwdriver and fit that down. Careful not to tear these. Once it gets over the threads, it's generally, see? Once you get over the threads, it's easy. Okay, excellent. Now I'll take these 3 screws, put this back in, then we'll put the brass gear back on. Make sure that's lined up with the screw holes. Now I'll usually go about halfway in do another screw halfway in, third screw halfway in, and then button it down. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Whew, almost lost it. What I was saying is I'll go halfway through on the first go around and then start buttoning it down as I go, so that way it's completely going down even. Don't want to screw it down hard on one screw and then next one and next one, because it can cause a bind. Okay, that's almost down. A little bushing here. My washer is starting to come up. I don't know why. Push that back down. There we go. Okay. Now go ahead and start buttoning these screws down. Don't go as hard as you can, there's no reason for that. Just snug them down a bit. And there we go. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put this gear back in, this main brass gear. Okay, now put this back on. Come on. There we go. But you see there's a metal washer right there actually. Now, go ahead and screw this back on. Hold on. Put the nut in wrong. See how there's a round. That's a rounder side. That's the flat side. Flat side goes down. Keeping in mind, I only did this once before, so trial and error. So be it. Some reels are different than others. Okay. That's snug. Let's go ahead and take this piece. Actually, I'm going to snug that a little, tighten that a little more. There. Now you could see that it's over the screw holes. Now one thing that's different with these KastKing reels compared to other reels I've worked with is KastKing loads their reels up with grease to make sure that there's no issues and they're in fine working order. The only problem with that is there's grease everywhere. As you can see, I'm having a hard time. Doesn't matter if you have gloves on or what, it does not matter. This grease is all over. And it's a very small screw. Alright, I'm going to pause. I'll be right back as I get this started. Alright, so got the screws in finally into their hole, so now I'll go ahead and screw these in. I can't imagine if this was like a 2000 or 1500 size reel. This stuff would be so small. Okay, so that's in. All my screws here properly. Okay, in the process, this piece fell out, but that's okay. I can go ahead and take the gear out. Now this little rod here, so you see there's a there's a pin there, and it fits into this here, this little S-shaped thing, and this pin goes into that vertical slot there. It is not easy, but it's not hard either. It's just annoying. Okay. That's in, that's in. Get the gear down. Spin this around. Come on. And slide this back in. Kind of help get this thing down. I'm kind of holding the top here and spinning the bail to get this to come down so I can put the hole in, or the screw into it. Okay, now I'll go ahead and take this small screw again. Okay, that's in. That part's all done. Get some grease off my hands real quick. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, put this back on. So there's the one washer. We're going to put this onto that brass bearing, or that brass gear. Go ahead and take your side panel and snap that right into place. Actually, got to make sure that bearing's down, that's down, that's down. Okay. Here we go. Right into place. Gotta make sure everything is snug. It's not going down all the way yet. Okay, why not? Let's see, why not? Why isn't it going down yet? There we go. Okay, that went into there, good. Now same thing with the, when I was putting that top washer back in, those screws in, I'll put this mostly in, and I'll alternate sides. There we go. Now I'll go top left. Yeah, not going to snug it down yet. Now we'll snug. Alright. Okay. Down. 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 Alright. So one, down. Again, down again. Down again. And down again. Alright, let's put the handle back in. As soon as that bail starts to turn, now just grab it a little bit, kind of tighten it into place here. Okay, put the spool back on. Boom, boom. Drag button down. Alright, there it is. Well, wasn't without some mistake. Back in working condition. Now when you want to take apart the reel, re-grease it and everything, that's how you do it. But yeah, so we had the three spots that make this IPX6 waterproof. So we had the gasket that was around the body here in this panel. We have that plastic cover over the nut that accesses those bearings. And then we had that other round gasket that was on top of the bearing on the inside. So yeah, that's the KastKing Kapstan Elite. That's what makes it IPX6 waterproof. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Wasn't a perfect video, but hope you learned something. Hope this was helpful. I'll do some other reels in the near future, like the Recon and any others I may get from KastKing or other brands. But yeah, KastKing Kapstan Elite IPX6 waterproof. You get some.